in that way, but it's going to be a support Lulu anyway for SK. That's what we've seen all split long.
And lately they've been mixing it up anyway, so that's the question. Do they go for it again? This time they ban the Graves and the Caitlyn. They've definitely shown they're not afraid of the Lucian. And I don't think, based on the performance last time, it really wasn't much of an issue for H2K at all.
Oh, that's very true. The lane swap early, then coming back.
Ban.
So still the two AD carry bans. Gragas was the other one that SK Gaming has been banning in every single game so far. Changes that one up to a Z and says, okay, you know what? We almost rather have you play Gragas with no hyper carries to protect than the Sejuani, but I think loulex can still go for it if he wants it here. If they want to run the same kind of composition,
of course,
with Forgiven on Lucian, well, Sejuani is open for you. Janna is open as a first pick for KaSing, which prevents the likes of a Shyvana from ever engaging onto a fight. He did stop Freddy a few times, so Freddy also just wasn't never there to fight really on this Shyvana here. He didn't manage to do a whole lot. So by taking that Janna again, they would deny any possible engage from Freddy.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense to try and go for something like that. We'll see what they do eventually lock in. They still have the possibility to go for the Rumble Sejuani combo if it doesn't get picked away. Gragas, though, is the priority, and that's
Gragas
what they take.
Value Gragas over Janna and then a Sejuani next rotation. It is a champion Sven plays. I don't think that's worth it for H2K. I mean, if I'm playing against SK Gaming, I don't mind Svenskeren playing Gragas. That would make my early game a whole lot easier against him. And at the same time, SK rarely runs these compositions, which is so heavily focused on just kiting. They like to be the one who can make the aggressive plays, who can run the 1-3-1 setup. So a little bit surprised about this one for H2K. Not that loulex is not a good Gragas player, he's a fantastic one. He picked it all 5 games against Fnatic.
But is that really worth the first pick? That's the question. They give up the Janna for this. Because
Sejuani is open, then I would have gone Janna first pick. I know SK Gaming will pick it if it's open, and then I would just go for Sejuani next rotation.
Yeah, and then they could have grabbed the Rumble on top of it regardless, or if they'd waited to see what the top lane pick was. As it stands, SK Gaming let the clock tick down. They take the Lucian, they take the Janna. And let's see what H2K decide to grab on their next go-around.
No real surprise for SK Gaming in their picks. Still has the Shyvana if they want it for top lane. Still has the last pick as well for mid lane, which is what they've been using so far. Vladimir and Orianna, Shox called it out. Do have to agree, we haven't seen a whole lot from these two picks. Orianna missed, I think, nearly every single shockwave.
Yeah.
So
Vlad was definitely a better choice, at least a more effective choice, but it still wasn't enough to...
It made it hard to play with the comp from SK Gaming, and it meant they didn't have any clear-cut power spikes for themselves, and because they never could really engage, the Vladimir could never really get in there. Janna could always also knock her away. Sivir, obviously, with 280 carry bans, well, Hjarnan is going to keep going back to the champion he's been playing all split long, which does work for H2K if they want this diving composition as well.
Yeah, and they have a Thresh now too, so that lends
it's a
some
lot more
interesting
kite,
possibilities.
It's a lot more kite with the Gragas as well. What he can do, what Gragas does really well, is he can zone out like one target with his ulti. He knocks one target back to you, knocks the rest away. But it's a lot harder to do compared to Sejuani with her ulti. Stunning a few targets. Thresh as well can be used a lot more as disengage. If you want pure engage, you would have gone for like an Annie here for KaSing instead in this situation. So H2K is mixing it up quite a bit, and Freddy decided to say, okay, enough is enough with their Shyvana.
Yeah, they're going to go ahead, take the tree. Also, Svenskeren will be back on Lee Sin. Should be happy about that one. This could be a very early snowballing composition if SK can get the ball rolling and dominate the lanes.
Yeah. You have the early game to Lee Sin.
Maokai's a little bit different, but I mean, it's just such a strong pick in general.
You got a safe passive top laner, but you got a very, very strong 2v2 lane bottom lane. So H2K most likely looking to swap again like they did in the last game, and then try and deny Freddy some farm.
They will give up a dragon,
Maokai.
most likely, if they do it again, though. So we could be in for another
one
of those early games.
Yeah, they can play different here and use their Thresh on the bottom side of the map to deny that first dragon from SK, or at least make it a lot harder for them. If it's going to be casted in mid, then normally we would expect Odoamne then to go for the likes of a Sion up top lane. Oh,
and he does.
There it is.
You called it official, but a blind pick Kassadin mid for Ryu. Laying it all on the table.
But what
game 4?
I mean, what picks do we have from SK that could do really well completely shutting down the Kassadin? Zed would have been a go-to one, but he's been banned away here. And mainly what we see then is AP assassins like LeBlanc, like Ahri, which Kassadin can farm very well against. He's not going to kill them in the laning phase, but he can sit and go even in farm when you start stacking up these potions as well. So in that case, as a blind pick, it's not that risky from H2K to have some decent wave clear in terms of Gragas, Sivir. Even the Sion can add in something there in that department.
Question is, though, do you think that they focus this on SK Gaming side? They have a Lee Sin who can make a lot of plays early on.
And can SK surprise something here in the mid lane? Is there something the H2K were not expecting? Or are we going to go
with the Orianna? Very
standard AP from them. And this Orianna was not good in game 2 from SK Gaming. Now you can put it under the Maokai, you can put it on the Lee Sin, and you can almost guarantee a shockwave to connect if they want to, but it's going to be hard for him. While you will push down the Kassadin to his tower, you don't really have a whole lot of kill threat on him in that mid lane, so Ryu should be okay in terms of farming. Svenskeren will get time though to invade in on this Lee Sin. He will have his mid laner backing him up very easily and force the Kassadin to sit on the tower. Not that Orianna wants to roam, but you force the Kassadin to sit and farm. Lee Sin can then invade into the jungle of H2K and use that to kind of roam between the lanes, get a bit of a deep wards in and try and set up an early snowball for SK, because we know they're going to do well in the bottom lane 2v2. If they do the same setup as before, once they swap to standard lanes after the lane swap from H2K, which we're expecting once again, because also Sion is doing so well in 1v2s, well then we know that it's going to have the wards on the bottom side of the map from SK, allow Forgiven to push in that tower, rotate mid lane against the no wave clear Kassadin, which is the risk from H2K here. And then you take down 2 auto turrets very easily with your AD carry. That's what SK Gaming can do here. They should be able to control that early game really well and go back to more of a style we know from them where they can snowball from strong lanes.
Exactly. It'll be up to H2K to see if they get those lanes that they want, though. But for now, you guys tell us what you think. We're still a match point here. It is game number 4. Do H2K have the momentum to take it all the way to 5? Well, you let us know. Tweet at LL Esports. Hashtags, of course, are H2K win or SK win. And we'll find out where this one's going in just a sec. Here we are on the Rift.
Why we said the Kassadin in terms of what could SK pick against it wasn't that risky to blind pick. It's more about the play style of SK. You know they're going to look for these early towers. Kassadin will not offer any wave as we just talked about. That's going to be the risk for Rio. They want to send him out of that mid lane once the bottom lane tower goes down, and they know the swap with Forgiven and nRated goes to mid. They want to have Janna and KaSing sitting there to kind of try and counter it and just push it back with the Sivir, while Rio can try and get some farm down the bottom lane. But that's going to be later in the game. If they do go for standard lanes, I want to see loulex try and pay a lot of attention on this bottom side.
This is some confidence in the bottom lane of H2K if they think that they can go toe-to-toe with Forgiven on the Lucian.
Sivir Thresh is not a bad lane.
No,
by
it's
any
definitely
means.
not, but it's still very, very daunting. And we heard it in the video earlier that you got to give a lot of respect to Forgiven for what he's able to accomplish. But clearly they're not fearing the Lucian anymore.
At least not in the start. Or maybe they just don't want SK to get an early tower and end the laning phase very quickly to stop the Kassadin from farming. If you do lane swap and you try and slow it down, it should buy a bit more time for Ryu. Or sorry, if you do take standard lanes and you just play it safe, that should buy more time for Ryu to farm up in this mid lane. And if you do end up losing the 2v2 lane, you can try and at least use Hjarnan as a defensive tool and hold off Forgiven around the mid lane later. Because the thing H2K likes to do as well is if they're losing 2v2, once they have a BF sword on Hjarnan, they like to take him out of that lane and try and trade a tower that's going to die anyway in the bottom lane and just put him like top lane. Push that one in with the Sivir with the BF sword and try and trade towers. It's a thing they've done in the past. Could see it happening again, depending on how this lane goes for them. Both teams obviously starting with a jungle camp. Except for Freddy, I think he just did the small raptors. Yeah, he did. I just always see his numbers.
Everyone starts the jungle with the mid lane, really. So the lanes are left unattended for just a moment. Odoamne goes ahead and does the wolf camp. Typical top Sion start. We'll be teleporting up in just a moment.
Running the lumberjack skin, playing against the Maokai.
Hopefully he'll be able to chop down the tree. That's what he's thinking.
I really want to see the bottom lane here, how they're trading early on. They're both trying to race for level 2. Obviously, good little trade here from H2K at first. Nice response, though, from Forgiven and nRated. We didn't get to see how many minions has gone down already, but there's the level 2 for KaSing and Hjarnan.
They've got it.
Matched by SK, though, and suddenly we're back to even.
Wasn't much of a timing window, but it is so difficult to trade against SK, especially when you've got Forgiven on a champion like Lucian, who's passive, that double tap ability, he can get twice the harass.
So they does have a good early start though, and good early laning phase to push it in. Potion was used from Forgiven. You of course have the Relic Shield as well, providing some HP from the Thresh onto Hjarnan here, and they got that first push. Can they connect? A hook from KaSing. That's how they want to start it. Otherwise, as you see, what they're doing now is making it very hard for Forgiven to pick trades because he has to focus his CSing on getting the last hits on the tower. So by H2K just constantly pushing down the wave, it's very easy to predict what SK is going to do in the lane.
They do have that going for them right now. Svenskeren finds loulex and won't hit the Sonic Wave as both junglers with their double buff start these things off. Odoamne gets a bit of damage notched onto the tree of Freddy, who's taking a lot of damage from the minions after the fact, actually. Everything else trading pretty even. Ryu's been pushed in by the Orianna from Fox. And Svenskeren now following forward on the loulex, but he shouldn't have enough damage to finish him.
So this is exactly what we talked about beforehand, how Orianna's going to push into Kassadin, while she won't follow in the jungle. She's going to keep him stuck on the tower, opening up for Svenskeren to invade in. Gragas, once he gets level 6, does fine against the Lee Sin, but early on, he can struggle just a little bit. He's still a very safe jungler. And while Sven is a fantastic Lee Sin player, it is hard for him to completely punish loulex. It's going to be more about just applying pressure and maybe forcing back the bottom lane from pushing if Sven can walk down behind him, and so on.
Well, and speaking of pressure, it's definitely on him to make those plays early. This is where Lee Sin likes to shine, getting his team to a solid mid-game and contributing during that. The later the game goes, the usefulness will eventually fall off, but they've got some other scaling there to do for them if it gets to that point in the game. We'll see what happens.
I don't really feel like they can match H2K in that way. Kassadin late game with this Athene build is so strong as long as he gets rolling in the team fights. He's very weak, and the build is very weak if you fall behind, because you have to secure that kill or an assist in the fight. And you have to jump in with your ulti to deal damage. So if you are behind, you just end up jumping in, not having enough damage, and just die, basically. So obviously, in that sense, Rio is going to have a good start on the Kassadin. But if you look at overall scaling, the double Cinderhawk is so good late game, where Lee Sin, as you said, will fall off really hard compared to a Gragas jungle. And that's going to be a big deal for H2K going late.
That certainly will. Back in the mid lane, very even trades here. Ryu sustaining up through the use of flasks and biscuits to boot. While in the bottom side, you can see Hjarnan and KaSing pushing it back, Forgiven and nRated. It's actually been fairly even on farm in that case too. Really even start to this game across the board. And the laning just continues.
I've seen the skirmishes Saber a few times on Gragas in Europe. Often, if you are against an early aggressive jungler, like Svenskeren on a Lee Sin, you build it and simply try and be a bit stronger in the one-on-ones, and then late game, you use it to obviously tank up damage from the likes of a Lucian. You just smite him, get the 20% damage reduction. So that's what loulex is aiming for here on the Gragas. Setting up a gank around the bottom lane.
Spotted by the ward though.
Pretty sure they saw him and the ward is on him.
Shouldn't be any problem at it. Oop, that hook is not going to quite hit KaSing. For all he's been trying the flay wheel though. Forgiven dodges out after that. Nice trade though from H2K's bot lane. Svenskeren goes on an invade trek, finds himself a Gromp in the jungle of H2K.
While we talked a bit about lane swap before, and I really like how H2K decided to do standard lanes. It slows down the early game in that sense for Rio to farm. Sivir can do fine just to push the lane over and over, and you trade fine against the Lucian. So it's a good start for H2K with their comp. Sven obviously is still trying to invade in and deny farm from loulex, which he's done a decent job of. No ganks been pulled off yet. And if you look at the lanes, I mean, he can try and gank the bottom lane. That's going to be pretty much the only one, because top lane has been pushing in against Odoamne over and over. Mid lane we know is going to push in against the Kassadin. So bot lane is where the focus should be, but there's no real CC to set up a gank for him. So as long as there's decent early wards from KaSing.
Oh, Ryu checks in. Yeah, but loulex is there. Just like that, the gank and the counter gank starts. loulex just in time, and Ryu trusting that was going to happen exactly as they needed. They burned 2 summoners on Fox.
Really want to push it in again from H2K. Nice little trade at least. Getting that flash away. Svenskeren was setting up for some shenanigans. Didn't really manage to pull it off. Because there's basically there for counter gank.
Oh, Sven's coming in. Oh, he kicks out Ryu actually, but he's got the Rift Walk and he dodges. Puts on his walking shoes. loulex moves away. Don't get punished for the clearing of the pink ward.
With this counter jungling here from Sven, he's gotten a small level advantage over loulex. Got level 6 first. Went for the play. Didn't manage to get any summoners. And now there's a Scion.
Here comes the
charging
Scion.
in.
He'll get stopped by a wall.
It's a wall. They can go collapse on Sven here, though. He's trying to sneak in and get a blue buff. H2K should not allow this one. There's no mana in the mid lane.
Not anymore, yeah. He has to back away. Freddy's here too, though.
No, they can't do it.
They're not going to stop this.
No.
It's going to go over to Ryu. So,
TP
teleport down to the bottom lane, though. KaSing is going to be in some trouble as the Twisted Advance is going to go on to him. The hook on it Forgiven, but they don't want to take a 2v3. KaSing could go down here, and he does. That's going to be first blood. Taken by Forgiven.
So no TP from Odoamne. They also saw him move down to secure that blue buff. Freddy knowing he could make a play then. We talked about how this was the lane you could gank for SK Gaming, and they do get a kill for it. Will be able to go back as well, Forgiven, but obviously the top tower takes a bit of a beating for it.
Yeah, that's the trade that they take. No more teleport after Freddy uses his. The wave won't be enough to help Odoamne clear this one out. Scion not exactly known for his high damage. The axe is going to be big, though. So SK get on the board. They've got the first kill of the game, but the gold is still very much even in this one. And H2K, as you mentioned, they're happy to draw this out. We talked about the lack of jungle pressure in the lanes, even though there was a bit of action in the mid, and then, of course, a teleport down top by Freddy.
Yeah.
The less jungle pressure,
well, I do
the better for H2K, I feel.
As I said with the Gragas, I do like him at level 6, though, here, so I don't feel like that's too big of a problem. KaSing, though, it's been caught out.
Yeah, but Ryu's here too, and he's got a lot of damage at his back end. Raid is gonna try to push him back. Oh no, the kick. Ryu, will he live through this one? He burns his flash, in comes loulex. Not enough damage from the Janna. They trade out the the Howling Gale isn't enough either, but very, very close. loulex instead will go down, and Svenskeren stays alive for another day. The tag team from H2K sees loulex taken out.
This was set up, though, by KaSing roaming alone as a support here, and a good ping ward for SK to start the pick here with SK Gaming, or with Svenskeren, sorry, on the Lee Sin and nRated roaming up from the bottom side. That's going to force a mid lane tower a lot earlier. Kassadin not able to defend it. So it doesn't go down now. Well, it will.
Well, soon enough.
Just a matter of time.
A lot of damage onto it.
Well, next time they do decide to go mid, they want to get that dragon instead, while they still have the numbers advantage for them. Just a very nice pink ward in the river to create that setup.
And Fox zoning as well with the command attack. So first dragon of the game picked up by SK Gaming on top of the other kill they'd already secured near to taking the tower. They put themselves in a favorable position. 10.5 into this game. Back to the game.
Why do we never sit like that, Pyro? Like in the old days.
Yeah, we really should.
Old days. I've known you for like 3 months.
I know. That's old days are like 2 months ago.
Basically. So, early game looking great for SK. Mid lane tower will go down very easily. Then they can focus on the bottom side. You go into deep ward behind it, you suddenly force Hjarnan to be very, very scared every time he tries to clear out the waves, and then you will always get a bit of damage on, and you will slowly chip it away. Another pick around this pink ward here.
They find loulex, the shockwave was on him too, and another one, yes indeed. And a teleport canceled by Odoamne. KaSing now won't make it out alive as he gets kicked right back in, and Fox takes him out.
That one pink ward has given SK Gaming so many kills. It's given them the mid tower now. It's gonna give them the dragon from before. H2K keep trying to walk in and clear it out, or at least walk around it, and Sven is just sitting there waiting.
Constantly. So
that's really paid off. Really paid off, using that Lee Sin so well. The champion that got banned against Unicorns of Love because he was destroying people. He had like a 10-0 game. Let's see what happens top. Odoamne is taking a lot of damage on the tower here.
Yeah, he is, but Ryu now coming in to try and clean it up. Odoamne bailing it. No, they don't have enough, and Ignite was used. Heavy investment by H2K. It doesn't get him anything. It might get the tower. But Fox is going to go ahead and knock over the one in the middle, or the minions will do it.
No damage from the Kassadin yet. It's still very slow scaling. You need the Rod of Ages. You need to get the Athenes.
Could be a late Rod of Ages too at this rate.
You want the team fights. Only the Catalyst is not going to do anything for Ryu.
Oh, and that's not either.
Down as well. I mean, that play was very unnecessary for him to try and force. But it almost feels like H2K is saying, we are falling so far behind. If we don't try a risky play, we will maybe never even get to a point where we can fight.
Flash forced by loulex. Onto Fox, a tower's gonna go down to the bottom, but you're right. SK have gotten themselves to a comfortable position, and H2K just seem to be playing not optimally. They've given up so much here just by trying to force the issue, and they have the scaling on their side.
And it's fun to see how SK Gaming, with Forgiven being shot down in the last game, has removed the early focus away from him. This is one of the first times I've seen nRated roam around doing the early game on a support, not sitting and babysitting Forgiven, but instead join Svenskeren and look for kills around the mid lane, and it's paid off for SK. Yes, they lost the bottom lane tower, but you gain so much in the middle of the map instead that is definitely worth it for them. And I like the adaptation, saying, you know what, you're playing Lucian, you got shut down last game, you're gonna be a little bit on your own. We focus around our Orianna, and of course with the Lee Sin early game to make the plays. And now he is one of the roams bottom lane. We talked about this, once the mid tower is gone, it opens up for Svenskeren to roam through the jungle and make it so hard for H2K to sit in this bottom lane, because you always have that fear of 4-man just showing up, killing you under your own tower.
Very possible with SK's playstyle. The way they are in this game right now, a deep pink ward placed down. SK have definitely been investing more in the vision this series so far. Hjarnan now gets hit up by Svenskeren, kicked back. On the hunt is popped. He's going to use heal as well. Try to make his escape, but he may not have enough. That's not going to connect either. But will he get away? The shockwave pulls in KaSing. Not enough damage to finish him off, but man, that was close.
Very, very close. Forced a lot of summon as they tried to get two of the shockwave. But all they want here is still that tower. This was the roam down from the mid lane. Suddenly 4 guys shows up, and you have to leave. You cannot sit and defend 2v4. So this gives the bottom lane tower for SK. That's what they wanted mainly. Kills would have been a bonus, but they got the tower they want. Top lane, last one alive of the outer turrets for H2K. While Odoamne has done a fine job in the laning phase, he's not going to do a whole lot to defend it if SK sends up Forgiven and nRated to take it down. Dragon is also coming up soon. That could be the first focus before we go top lane for SK.
That could indeed. Dragon's a minute and a half on the clock. Odoamne is hell-bent on finishing off this tower if he can. See if he can make something happen before Svenskeren shows up. Looks like he's actually not going to show up. So yeah, this should be a tower taken by H2K. Odoamne's not got teleport just yet, so he'll have to take the long route. Fortunately, he's got an express route.
This is good when he gets to the tower. Very important for H2K to start getting some gold. Rio is running cooldown reduction per level blues. Very standard on Kassadin. What we have seen in China a lot is then you go Codex, and then you finish your hourglass before you even get to the Athenes. It comes in as like the third item, but you just aim on getting almost max cooldown reduction or as much as possible early on, just to lower the cooldown on your ultis.
Yep, Hjarnan looking for Fox here. This could be a fight for H2K. Fox not quite down. There he goes. The Lantern pulls Hjarnan back, and loulex tanking in the front. They pick off Fox just like that. SK drop their guard. Ryu going to hop over the wall, try to avoid the Sonic Wave, and it comes around again. Svenskeren is going to have to get out of town, and he will. Ward hopping into the Dragon Pit. For the next 20 seconds, though, H2K have number advantage. Let's see if that changes. loulex isolated. Yes, it does. The crucial smite is taken out. SK Gaming still in a very good spot here with the next Dragon on the horizon.
Svenskeren really want to win this series here. His Lee Sin once again has been so good, and the whole setup from SK in the early game has allowed him to play so aggressive around the pink wards in the jungle of H2K. Another Dragon being picked up 16 minutes in 2 for SK. Can they defend the mid tower? That's what H2K is trying to trade for. It's going to be very, very hard with a pink also here in the river, denying vision from them, so they can't really see how many guys are coming up towards them.
Yeah, but they didn't have enough damage on the tower either to really make a dent in it, so 2 Dragons now for SK Gaming, still defend their mid tower. 3,000 gold in the lead. That's not too bad, Deficio.
Not too bad at all. You open up the map, that's the important one. So you can keep pressuring down these lanes. Here's the move from Rio in the bottom side. Just trying to soak up farm on the Kassadin, who is not been working well. It's going to take a while. It's not been working well for them because SK could force so many fights around that mid lane. It's by no means over, but it's definitely in favor of SK with the way the early game has been going.
Well, H2K have played a little frantically, I would think, here, and it's not netted them too many results. 1 kill, no Dragons, a couple of towers, sure, but you're falling behind to this SK squad that can and will punish you in the middle of the game. Let's see if loulex gets out of this one. He should. Gives up the Skull Crab, just fine, not worth the life.
No, but this is all the setup for SK to start pushing top lane. You see how they get some wards in the jungle. They have even a pink in the river. They get the Rift Scuttler, so they can see everything going on the top side of the map now. And this opens up for Forgiven to start pushing it in. You mentioned how the Sion, while he's done a fantastic job in the laning phase, he's not going to do a whole lot to hold this one. He needs more members from H2K to defend it. They're trying to send up both jungle and support. Not really going to be there in time, already being forced away.
Yeah, SK should be able to take this one. Svenskeren wants to take even more. loulex is in some serious trouble. He goes down. Odoamne can't get the chop off. It was loulex who was on the chopping block. SK keep on pushing for it. Eyeballing turret number 2 now in the top.
Sven just never stops.
There comes Odoamne. Found Forgiven.
That's good. Can take him down? He's on the
tower. He's on the Monsoon though, and he's going to bail out. Odoamne really wants to finish him up. The shields are on. The Shockwave gonna connect. Odoamne is not gonna live through this one. Just barely. Comes back to life. Zombie Odoamne as Hjarnan has to get away from the tree. Let's see if he'll be able to do it with On the Hunt. Yes, he does. Trade 1 for 1 at the end of the day, but Forgiven taking him out of the picture means the tower will live for another day.
Love to engage here from H2K. Minions were dead, so they simply locked down Forgiven. I think he was tanking tower as well. Ends up getting a very important kill on the Kassadin. This is what they need. Ryu is the guy you need to invest your resources into. You want to try and win any team fights in the near future. Still going to be tough. SK has a good lead on this one, or in this one. With all other turrets gone, we're going to have to see. Do you want to put the focus on the bottom side to secure that dragon and then swap it to Baron after? Because what you want to do now, typically, is you push in mid and you push in the top lane, you take over the jungle around the blue buff, and then you clear the wards on Baron. So you create that illusion that, hey, we can take Baron right now. Yes, it's early in the game, but we can be on it. And you have to walk into your own jungle with zero vision and potentially face check us.
SK's done this before.
They've done this many times.
Series, especially.
We need to see Scrying Orb coming in for Hjarnan very, very soon. Because he might be the only guy who can check if that Baron is being started or not.
Yeah, oh, Sven kicks KaSing back in. He will be using the flash to hop his way, and he gets Sven caught up on a line. Do they have enough damage to take him down? Not quite yet. Ryu goes forward on a Rift Walk. The Null Sphere won't be enough. Teleport in for Odoamne. Forgiven! He's taken down. Forget one prize. We'll take the other, and in comes the Sion. Stops just short. Can't quite pick up nRated. They get something for that, though. Let's see if they can take a tower after the fact.
Yeah, Svensson's going back to base. Another good pickup here for H2K. Freddy wasn't even near. He was walking from top side when Sven jumped in and tried to create that pick here. Didn't respect the TP from Odoamne. They ended up costing them more.
Freddy again. He's been twisted advance onto the minion. The chase is on as loulex came around the side. Shockwave pulling in Ryu and Odoamne, but Fox is already down. The Monsoon pushes him right back out. Ryu still tanking up everything. Freddy caught in a line. Hjarnan popping the heal. Ryu is still going to make it out. The tower, though, is still defended.
More kills for H2K, though. We'll also be able to just disengage away, not losing anyone. Didn't get the mid tower like they wanted. The 2 kills for Hjarnan suddenly. The carries starting to get some gold for H2K. And still loads of time before any objective is alive. TP advantage for SK, so they can make a play like this next time. This one here, backfired completely.
Yes, it did indeed. H2K get themselves a little bit something back here. Red buff spawns as Sven and nRated were thinking about going home, but they will be grabbing a bite to eat before they head back to the base. KaSing will show up just in time to realize it's happening. Oh, he hooks up the blue, or the red rather, but it's still taken by Sven.
He helped. What was going on? Just showing I'm here.
Yep.
Here. Small ones wasn't cleared though. Not gonna
what is going on, Deficio?
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, SK Gaming has been playing a strong early game. Somewhat expected, I guess, if you look at how they wanted to punish the Kassadin for his passive early. Sven's gonna unleash in against the Cinderhulk jungler as well. And then they've just been getting a little bit too greedy, I think it's fair to say, the last few minutes. And that's what H2K has used to get some kills and keep the hope alive of a game 5.
Well, one thing they could do to keep the hope alive even more here is to contest this dragon. It's coming up in less than 30 seconds. Yeah, I agree. It's going to be really difficult. They've not got the vision. They've not got the members around here. And there's no teleport on Odoamne, and there is one on Freddy. So everything is going SK's way for this next Drake.
You don't really want to walk straight into a 5-on-5 that has already been set up by SK Gaming. You want to keep trying to punish them if they're a little bit, if they're over-aggressive when they go for picks. That's where you want to punish them and try and get back this way. They can maybe trade a mid tower for this dragon if they push it in very fast, but it's difficult because once again, there's no real wards in the river to spot SK coming in from the side, and they don't have time to do it either.
No, the quick dragons, it's SK's specialty, and they don't really manage to get much out of that at all. 3 dragons to none now the scoreline. SK Gaming still in the lead by a few thousand gold over H2K, but they haven't looked flawless in the last few minutes.
It's really scary. When SK Gaming gets the first 3 dragons, they're 12-1. They've lost 1 game where they got all the early dragons. They need to keep applying pressure on H2K if they want another win in this one. Not that they have a bad early game by any means. The double Cinderhold tank though can just be so tough to grind your way through. And we know this Kassadin build, the unlimited mana Kassadin build, can really snowball out of control in fights late game.
All right, so they've caught Freddy. There's on the hunt pop. The tower's still protecting. Freddy will go with eventual Maelstrom. The box is down, and no one's checking into it just yet. And they push him back. For the time being, Sven's still looking to maybe take even more, as Fox wasn't even there, moves around the side. H2K still burns some crucial ultimates, and they don't get anything out of it, once again.
No, now SK sees an opportunity to group 5. You have Lucian or Janna. If you see Rio on the bottom side, you can push it in. Or you can just move to the Baron here, try and clear out this few wards already being placed from H2K. Now again, you might create this situation where H2K has to come and face check you. They do have Scrying Orb on the Sivir, but it looks like SK is fine resetting the whole map, waiting for the minion waves to push in the side lanes and then push them back, especially in the bottom lane, before you start making any plays around that Baron. At least everyone is recalling.
Oh, Freddy though being gonna find Freddy.
That was a very risky place to recall.
Oh yeah, oh, and he may not get a chance to after this one. loulex and Odoamne just bashing away, trying to scratch the bark. Freddy, he's not gonna live through this one. No way does he get away. And they give it over to Hjarnan too. Nicely played by H2K.
And this again is just H2K punishing SK for losing focus. Honestly, you're recalling in the enemy jungle on your own. That didn't make any sense. And another kill for Hjarnan. 18 seconds for Freddy. Does have TP ready. But H2K can be happy at least getting something in a situation where they weren't supposed to get anything.
Exactly. Now there's a big wave building up on the top side. That's going to demand some attention from SK Gaming fairly soon.
That's what they were waiting for. They were waiting for these side lanes to push in, push them back, and then start making plays around the Baron.
One thing that is really troubling here for H2K, though, is that they've been very much unable to clear out a lot of the river vision that SK have established, partially because they've been punished for it so many times, and partially because they're just not able to move in there safely at all. So as a result, SK still maintained a fair amount of map control on the board here, but all the map control in the world isn't going to help you much when you try to back in the enemy jungle. Nope. When everyone else is around. I should clarify.
That one. Given going back a bit late, opens up this tower for H2K now.
Yep.
Take a 3-1 at least.
Been trying to take it down for a while. This time they're able to take it.
Slowly but surely. It's getting more and more. Everything SK offers, H2K takes it. Says, okay, we're not out of this game yet. Yes, we're behind in terms of dragons, but we're getting stronger and stronger. We should be able to contest the 4th one, or at least the 5th one if you wait for items on the Kassadin. We do see the Rod of Ages into Hourglass with the Codex in between from Rio, simply to try and make his Mickey a little bit stronger. His cooldown reduction is around like 25% at this point with CDR per level. So he's simply trying to get slow cooldown possible on his ulti, and he has a fight.
They're going to find Forgiven as they knock him back in. Hjarnan taking that one. There was a teleport coming out as Freddy and Svenskeren are in the back, but there's not that much damage. The shockwave coming in. Freddy, now they're chasing out nRated and Fox. This is H2K's fight. They're going to take another. Fox is burning away, and he is gone. He's not going to go down, but Freddy certainly is, and it's 4 kills just like that. Fox still on the run. This could open up the Baron for H2K. They are, however, pinging out Fox right now. I think they'll just try to scare him up a little bit. Yeah. Baron not going to be contested at all. H2K take a brilliant fight, and they're not done yet. Fox, this could be the ace. They get it. They're going to get the Baron. Turning that right in their favor. And just like that, it's a gold lead.
Just another fantastic engage from loulex. Body slam, flash in. Look at the engage here from the Gragas. Look at your minimap coming from the river. He's looking at Forgiven. He's gonna body slam flash into him and then knock him back into his own team. kill him first. Now the fight is won because the main damage dealer is gone. And you can start cleaning up from H2K. You get the Baron. That engage was so good. And H2K are right back in this game. They have the goal lead and everything.
Oh, yeah. Odoamne could be in a little bit of trouble here, but look at how much he's doing to them, and the rest of his team is behind him. Freddy now, he's the one who's isolated out, and he's gonna go down, chop down that tree. Odoamne. This game has gone completely 180. 30 seconds left on the Drake now, Deficio.
Yeah, SK Gaming was so good in the early game. And then it was almost like he said, okay, no need to focus anymore. Randomly getting picked off, giving kills to H2K, and then it's just full credit to H2K in that last team fight with the engage from loulex to win it. And SK Gaming suddenly very far behind. Also, if you look at the comps, the Cinderhawk is starting to scale up. The Kassadin is going to get his Athenes very, very soon. Rio is sitting. Oh, no, 600 gold, but he's going to get a tower, don't worry.
Yeah, they're going to get even more out of that one. So one tower,
they can even
burn
go
through
take
the
Dragon now and stop that 5th Dragon thing.
No problem at all. Yeah, forget, who cares about that 5th Dragon thing, right? It's going to be H2K easily picking this one up. They have gone ahead so far. They've got scaling on their side. The Kassadin will start to roll out of control. Hjarnan's just been sitting on a mountain of gold after the kills that they've been able to pick up. So Dragon number 1 to them. And importantly, they had done all that before without that first Dragon buff, without that AD and AP.
Really well played by H2K in this game here.
What else can they take?
Rio only had like 800 gold when he went back, so he's just like, whatever, I get a blasting one, I get something.
No problem. Well, he could be getting up to a Void Staff pretty soon if he wants.
He can for sure.
Or a Death Cap. Yeah, SK Gaming, after controlling the game so well, they make a couple of crucial mistakes, but that fight was absolutely massive for H2K. All credit to loulex for setting it up, but the rest of the team followed through incredibly well. And since then, it just looks like a completely different matchup.
They have a very good late game comp. Sven is trying to start something.
Yeah, but they picked loulex, and let's see if they can take him down. Sven is the one who's taking a whole lot of damage. The barrel comes out, and Odoamne is still in the fray. The hook on to Svenskeren. As in comes KaSing. The box should go down. The Monsoon, it doesn't even mean a thing. There's a big shockwave, but it comes way too late as H2K get 3 kills more on the board.
Yeah, now you're trying to engage onto loulex. He's fine. You might have been able to bully him a little bit in the early game. Now he's a big tank up in the front here, and H2K suddenly looking to close out the game in their favor. It looked so bad if we go 10 minutes back.
But this isn't 10 minutes ago, Deficio. Oh, Ryu, he's going for Fox right now. He might have gone too far forward. Pops his Zanya's hourglass, and he's got enough to take down Fox anyways in the kamikaze. But meanwhile, Hjarnan's back in the mid, and that's going to be an inhibitor taken out. So how about that? Just about worked. Oh, maybe even more.
It's another guy we got to highlight here. H2K managed to get so many of the early kills onto Hjarnan, so he got an item advantage over Forgiven, which also, of course, been a big factor in the comeback from H2K, but it's all gone so fast. A few picks, then a big team fight, then a Baron, and this one here, well, that's now we get to see H2K, what happens if you cannot get onto any of the carries. You've already been chunked down because you've only been hitting one of the tanks. Janna's just standing there, spamming auto attacks away, and then Kassadin comes in.
And yeah, this fight's over. That's a great shockwave. You needed it about 5 seconds before, at least.
I think he was really able to pull it, though.
Yeah, I mean, there was no...
They didn't have to chase him on anything.
They split quite well. It just comes down to, I think, the desperation from SK Gaming. They're seeing their window of opportunity close. They're seeing H2K scale up, and they've just made simply too many mistakes now. And now that H2K has started this snowball, it's starting to roll downhill pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see the gold, the swing in the last minutes, because they were down.
That's the hill it's rolling down, Deficio.
Completely.
It's definitely a quick change of pace, and now... So we're 32 minutes into this game. We'll take a quick breather on that one because it's a 6,000 gold advantage over at H2K plus a little bit of change. They got themselves a dragon in all of that. They'd had the Baron, of course, for a while. They made it work. Next one's 2 minutes away. But you can just tell, looking at the way that they're fighting, the way that they're playing, SK Gaming don't seem to have an answer at all.
No, because they've been stuck in these fights now where they no longer have that lead. There's no real target for them to kill. I mean, the dive potential they do have is the Maokai going in with their with the ball on from Orianna as a shockwave, but you got spell shield from Sivir to block the Maokai engage. You will have flash up as well for him. You got the Gragas who can always disengage with his ulti, and then you got the 2 big tanks in the front as well. Also the Gragas and of course the Sion. So H2K is just running out of targets for themselves, and they simply cannot match the damage coming in and the tankiness coming in from H2K. We're gonna have to see a fantastic shockwave being pulled if SK is to turn this one around.
Yeah, they desperately need Fox to be able to make that one happen. They need the perfect angle of engage, but they've got to fight a war on 2 fronts here as Odoamne pushes in some super minions in the middle. They're not going back to defend it just yet. In another wave, they're going to catch Svenskeren, though. Do they go all the way into this one? It looks like they might. Monsoon, he's going to stay alive. Some safeguard helping him out, too. But Hjarnan, all of a sudden, is on the hunt. They look for the tower. Now they might turn their attention to Freddy. There's the ball, but it only connects on Ryu and loulex, and he's going to pop his Zanyas. The tower still taking a whole helping of damage as KaSing flays the members of SK Gaming back. The explosive cast comes in. Freddy comes in onto Odoamne. He's going to flash away, and nRated got in a line. The damage, it's just too much as Hjarnan picks up a godlike kill. Freddy now on the retreat. Ryu somehow still staying alive. Sven's hooked up, a double kill. They'll get even more. How about a triple? And we're going for inhibitors again.
And we're going for game 5, Pyro. H2K should be able to finish this one. What a comeback from them. They punish SK Gaming for losing the focus.
It just goes to show you cannot get complacent. H2K will turn it around on you time and time again. They're on the Nexus turrets. H2K want this, the difference in championship points, the glory in their first split of making the top 3 of the LCS in Europe. They're not going to end it though, Deficio. The death timers are too low still.
All right, we're still, 34 minutes in. Or maybe we're a little bit too early on that one.
Yeah, but it started to look like it for a second.
Oh yeah, and H2K, it's of course their game to lose.
There's a teleport in from Freddy here.
SK trying to rush a Baron now.
This is a desperation move, but if it works out, it could buy them some serious time.
Odoamne has TP, so he can come back from base. Ryu is there already on the Kassadin. Smacking that Sion into the enemy's face.
I mean, it's at half its health already. SK, if one thing they're good at, they're able to take objectives quickly, but will they have the chance? It's gonna get secured. Ryu's in the middle. Can he make his escape? Can SK take this fight? They've got the Baron on. What can they do? Svenskeren finding Hjarnan Ryu around the backside. He's gonna pick off KaSing. That means Ryu is still hanging around, and nRated goes down just like that. A triple kill, and they're going for even more. Oh my goodness, a double for Sven, but it won't be enough. That is gonna be the wipe, and that has got to be the game.
Yeah, they got super minions coming into the base here. 30 seconds on most of the members. You might get a Baron, but H2K, they get an ace for themselves. 11-0 Hjarnan. The guy who got all the early kills.
11-0-9.
And what a game from him.
Yeah, what a game indeed. He's not a hyper carry, but he's certainly starting to play like one. They charge headfirst into the Nexus turrets. The Nexus is going down.